Good afternoon, guys. Tony here. It's Saturday, August the 14th. I wanted to get on here, guys, and just have a discussion, talk about some things been on my mind, and just talk about the rapture, the timing, where we're at. And at the end of this video, when I get done talking, I've got a couple little small short videos I want you to watch. The first one is something I saw in the sky yesterday that was really interesting, where the sky was separated. Anyways, I'll just watch that video. It's really interesting. Also, I put in the I made a little short video. I walked down the road down where I heard the shofars, and I wanted to show you guys the woods where I heard them, where the sound was coming from, so you could see how it's very, very extremely unlikely that anyone could have been down in those woods, let alone early in the morning playing a shofar. Now, I've said that before, and I've been meaning to do this. I just never did it. I don't know why. I guess being lazy or whatever. But I went on a walk down there, and I took a video. So make sure you watch that at the end, guys. But before I get started, just want to say, if you haven't come to Lord Jesus Christ, do so today. Time's running out. Guys, the rapture could happen any moment. If you don't know what the rapture is, it's a harpazo in Greek, where it comes from Thessalonians, where it's called the catching away, where Paul talks about that in a moment, in twinkling of an eye, we'll be called up to meet with Christ in the air. The catching away is is called the harpazo in Greek, which means to be snatched by the hair of the head, to be taken unto oneself quickly. It's just like a kidnapping. It's to get something out of harm's way, basically, like you try to save someone from getting hit by a car, or to pull someone out of the way of something. It's about to fall on, whatever. It's just a safety. It's like a rescue in a way. But guys, that's going to happen soon, and when it does, there's going to be 7 years to follow it. It's going to be very bad on the earth, pure hell, and you don't want to wait until that happens. It's going to be really hard to get saved during that time. Right now, all you have to do is believe the gospel and believe Jesus, the Son of God, died on the cross, was buried for 3 days, arose again, and in his ascension, he made atonement for our sins with his own precious blood and promised to come back for us, guys. But if you believe the gospel with your heart, confess that Jesus is the Lord, you will be saved. So do that today. There's steps in the description. The first 2 steps are the gospel, and I've got some more steps to tell you what to do as a Christian, how to live a Christian life, reading the Bible, so forth, things like that. But guys, it's not about religion. It's not about attending church every week and repenting every day. All that religious stuff has nothing to do with having a relationship with Jesus Christ and getting saved. There's things you can do to keep yourself on track, to do good. It's a good thing to do good deeds and do good things and obey the law. That's what we're supposed to do. I mean, that's what's right. And when you become a Christian, you're like an ambassador to Christ, and you want to do good for God. You want to try to please Him. But remember, the Bible says it's impossible to please God without faith. So the main thing is getting saved and believing in Jesus Christ, that He is the Lord and Savior, and get saved and sealed. And you'll basically, that's how you get to heaven. That's the only way. Jesus says, I'm the way, the truth, and the life, and no one comes to the Father except through me. So turn to Him today. Repent, which is the word metanoia in Greek, and it means to turn from a previous way of thinking, just to turn to belief in Jesus. So anyways, guys, I'm thinking about a lot of stuff lately. All the things that have happened. In the last video, I kind of touched on some of the things. But all the things that have happened in the world last year and this year, but also things that happened to me and a lot of other Christians who've been watching. It started out last year. I think I'm going to link the video that I'm talking about in the description. I might actually have 2. I'm going to link that, and there's something else at the end when you watch those last 2 little short videos. There's another link that I'm going to leave. But this link here is the video I made about the earthquake that happened last year in Virginia on the state line there, that was felt all the way down as far as maybe even further than Columbia, but I know at least it was felt to Columbia, South Carolina. And it was all about a dream that I had years ago about walking up the sidewalk in Rock Hill, South Carolina, where I live at the time. Not now, but at the times where I lived. And a spot there on the road where now it sits like a Hickory Tavern and a little strip mall and some other shops and stuff. But at that time, there was nothing there but a big open field. And I had dreamed that the earth was cracking open right there. And there was black military helicopters in the sky, and it was an earthquake. It was a major, massive earthquake, and even the sidewalk had buckled up. It just went, and the ground was splitting open. And my wife and my son, Tyler, and I'm pretty sure that my daughter, Leah, wasn't born then. I'd have to figure that out, but I don't think she was born yet. If she was an infant. But they were running through the field and fell down into one of the cracks of the earth, where the earth split open, and it closed up on them. So I was looking for a place to jump in there because I was trying to be with them. You know, it was just a dream. But that was what I was doing in my dream. But anyways, right after that, I woke up, and it was disturbing, disturbing dream, to say the least. But years later, when that earthquake happened in Virginia and it was felt, my wife was working last year in a clinic across the street from that very spot that I had the dream. And she wasn't working there when I had the dream. When I had the dream, she was working somewhere else. She had moved there, and she was there during this time that that this earthquake happened. So she calls me up early in the morning. I think it was about 8:30 in the morning, and says, "Tony, I think we had an earthquake." And I'm like, "What?" And then, as I'm considering what she's saying, and she's talking, when we had this, blah, 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 she's talking, and in my mind, I'm thinking, wait a minute. That's where I had that dream of the earthquakes happening, right there where she's at. She's literally across the street. So if you walked out of her clinic and walked across the street, you're basically be in the same spot. Maybe slightly at an angle, but you'd basically be it was the same parking lot. So you'd be in the same spot where I had that dream. And I knew that something was up with that. I felt like in my spirit that was a time marker. God was showing me, when you see this, even though it wasn't the ground splitting open and stuff, but I wouldn't have probably even remembered the dream if I had a dream that was just somebody had a little shaking and felt a little afterquake. God wanted me to remember that time because it was going to start probably a series of dreams being fulfilled, prophetic dreams, and also a prophetic time period where God's Spirit's being poured out on the world. So anyways, to fast forward till, now, looking back, and I've seen the patterns of the things that are happening. That was the first dream that had been fulfilled. But see, there was others. I had another one that got fulfilled in a way. Now, I mean, it's not exactly the way that I dreamed them, but it was in some kind of a way. It was a fulfillment of these dreams. Even my vision, okay, even a vision I had at 11. So this is very important to me. So I also had a dream when I used to live in Indian Trail, North Carolina. And I was about 10, 11, I was probably about 10, because this was actually before I had my Rapture vision. I lived in Indian Trail, and I moved to Charlotte after that. And then I dreamed that a giant UFO had landed on Highway 74 about a mile from our house. It was huge. You could see it, really clearly I was actually standing in my dream, standing in 74, looking up the road, or right on the edge of 74 at my house. And people were walking out of their houses because there was a voice in my head that said, "Come to the light." And the UFO thing had like a ramp and a door, kind of like a classic, 1960s or 50s, UFO sci-fi movie, where the door opens up and then this liquid ladder thing comes down, or stairway or whatever, you know what I mean? And the light was really bright, and a voice in my head, it was in my head because it wasn't in my ears. I remember I was like observing this thing. I was like watching a movie. I wasn't actually involved in it. I wasn't listening to the voice to do it. I was just hearing it and observing what people were doing. And people were coming out of their house like zombies. I mean, they were just half dressed and everything else, walking towards that UFO. And I'm considering, why are they doing that? Why are they listening to this voice? They don't know what this is. And so about that time, I started to wake up. And as I'm waking up, now remember, guys, I'm a kid. I'm only 10 years old. As I'm waking up, I hear that same voice again. Now I'm half awake, half asleep. I'm just waking up. That voice says, "Fallen angels fly these crafts." And at 10 years old, I did not know what to do with that, guys. At the time, I still believed that, angels had wings. Well, you know what I mean? I never considered that they could have flown in flying saucers. Okay, that was never something that ever crossed my mind. That was flying saucers or UFOs from outer space, and angels come from heaven, from a spiritual realm. So different thing altogether. As a child, it's hard to differentiate things. So that was really bizarre and kind of shocking to me. So I told my dad, and he was interested in it. He started thinking, it got him thinking, got wheels turning. So he started talking about the people. And this was way back when, guys. This was way back when. Like I said, I'm 48 years old. I wasn't like 10 years old then. So, anyways, then again, fast forward years later, and there's a sighting. I actually saw it for the first time on Paul Begley, one of his news broadcasts. But it was on the news. It was on TV. But they were talking about how there was a UFO sighting outside of Charlotte. And on the Paul Begley, he said that some guy, he had a bunch of people calling in and talking about it. He said some guy called in, he says he was on the Indian Trail when they saw hundreds of lights in the sky. And these things wasn't making any sound, but they were moving with incredible speed, and they were act like they knew those people were watching. But he said he was on the Indian Trail. Now, Paul Begley may not know anything about North Carolina and know that there's actually a town called Indian Trail. So that's where I said, whoa, wait a minute. So I had to do some research and find out exactly where that sighting was, and it was in Indian Trail. So I felt like that that dream I had, it could have been a vision. But it was a very realistic dream. But again, it was. I remember waking up, so I'm assuming that it was a dream. But anyways, it was somewhat. There was a fulfillment in that a bunch of people saw UFOs in Indian Trail where I had dreamed that dream, and that dream said, the voice said that fallen angels fly these crafts. Now it's almost like maybe a confirmation to me that first of all that fallen angels fly around in UFOs. As weird and bizarre as that sounds, they are fallen beings. They're not in glory anymore, so maybe they have to use technology, and they're probably way far advanced than we are. They are beings too. They're not magical. The Bible never says that these beings were magical. Even the angels, they have power in God, but holy angels do. And there's also some verses that talk about how they can evidently shapeshift or make themselves look like the fallen angels can. It says, if the devil can appear as an angel of light, is it no wonder that his ministers his angels can appear as ministers of righteousness? So some kind of way they can appear as different things, but it's probably use of technology of some kind. I would say some kind of advanced technology that we probably can't even comprehend right now. So it was like a confirmation of that and a fulfillment of the fact of where I was when it happened. And that was like, could have been a time mark saying, when you see this, it was almost all these things are like God saying, when you see this, or when you see that, it's like a timestamp. It's a chain of events that's going to occur from that moment, or during that time period when it started with that first dream that got fulfilled, which was the earthquake in Rock Hill. Well, it wasn't really an earthquake in Rock Hill, it was in Virginia, but it was felt, the quakes were felt, aftershocks or whatever. Anyways, so that happened. And then there was also the dream where I had of the mark of the beast. Now, there was a second possible fulfillment. Now, I've already talked about one with this, and I'm going to go over that, but there's a second one that happened the other day I wanted to bring up too. Okay, first of all, I was with my brother Jack, my oldest brother, passed away in 2018. He's the one that died on March the 23rd, 3/23, 2018. And that was another reason why 3/23 was very, the number was special to me, why it stood out. Anyways, we were in the backyard of my previous home. That was 7 Wilglow Street, 7 Wilglow. We lived there for 11 years. That wasn't a plan or anything. That's just when we decided to get out. We decided to buy a house. So anyways, it's just ironic looking back at all these times and things that correlate. Anyways, we're looking up at in the backyard. It was dark in the sky. These lights were coming down. And my brother Jack said, "Tony, that looks like a UFO." And I'm like, "It is a UFO." And it was coming straight down. We could see it clearly. It was a UFO at nighttime, the lights and everything. We could see it. And while it's coming down, we were in the backyard on the driveway side. I feel like the driveway's on the left-hand side, and we were standing in the backyard part of the driveway, but also on the side of the house, that left side of the house, looking up towards the back. Anyways, so we're standing there looking at that. While it's coming down, there's ice cream truck music is the best way I can describe it. It's like some kind of a childish melody that's playing, like a rhyme, a nursery rhyme type song. Whatever, and it's playing, and I'm like, "What is that, Jack?" And we turn around, and we can see the lights from another UFO that had landed in the front yard, and they were trying to, and we were saying they're trying to get the kids on there. It was luring children, and not just children. It was just like an ice cream truck. That music lures people, it's just a lighthearted music that lures people, kind of like the Pied Piper or something. So we ran to find out what it was all about, and we went on the UFO. He was gone. I didn't see him in the UFO, which is not too ironic, since how what I'm about to tell you is something that I believe going to happen in the future after he died. So once we went on the UFO, he was gone. All of a sudden, I was in this really big warehouse, looked like a stripped out Walmart. And if you're basically facing the back of the store, looking all the way to the far back, completely stripped out, in the far right corner, in one side of the corner, there was these 2 pods set up. And on the other side of the corner, there was these 2 pods set up. So basically, you know, if you can see my fingers, it's like, I don't know, there was pods set up on the one wall and then pods set up on the other wall, so that, you know, the corner was empty, but right to the sides there was 2 pods here, 2 pods here, and these men dressed in black SWAT suits and masks and face shields, and it looked like they might have had on gas masks or just black masks or something. They had masks on their face was covered. I do remember that clearly. And they had automatic machine guns, and they were all dressed in black, and they were forcing people into these lines to go towards these pods. The first pod, they had to go through that, and whatever they did inside of these pods, and I remember thinking it looked like the pods on the movie The Fly, and that you know how they transport from one to the other. That's what I was thinking, but that doesn't mean that's what they were doing. That's what I was thinking about. That's what it reminded me of. And so that after they get through with that line, they had to get in the second line, and that line for the next 2 pods had a big counter out in the front, and a clipboard and a pen. And after they done that, after they went through that pod, or those pods, whatever they were doing, they had to sign on the clipboard, and then they had the mark of the beast. So once they got it, there was these bleachers that looked like something in a high school that you would like fold up and slide behind the other bleachers or slide against the wall. You know, you've seen them. They're like a big rolling wall that flips down into a set of bleachers. You know what I'm talking about? It's a small, kind of relatively small, something you might see at a baseball game or a children's, you know, ball field. Anyway, after they got the mark and they would sign on it, they would go and sit in those bleachers, right? So anyways, that was really interesting. It was a 2-part mark of the beast. So the reason why I feel like that's been partially fulfilled is because they didn't have the mark when they went through the first 2 pods. And it's kind of it's kind of like the V. You know how they have the 2 different ones you have to get, like a 2-part thing, or maybe 2-part being one being the V and the other being the proof that they got the V, possibly. But then there was another section, another set of something, which is another reason why I don't believe that the V is the mark of the beast. I believe it is something that is going to lead into it directly, imminently, soon, very near future. It could have something to do with another outbreak or a worser outbreak or something totally different altogether. Or it could be some kind of alien technology that come down and something, I don't know. Maybe the aliens come down and they're really the fallen angels and the demons that come down and they offer man some kind of a pharmakia, sorcery that causes them, or at least they lie and tell the people they'll live forever, and they have some kind of false sense of life that they can't die, because Revelation says they'll be, in those days people would pray for death, but death would flee from them. They would desire to die, but he couldn't die. So something maybe that these fallen angels give them that keep them alive could be part of the mark of the beast. I don't know. I'm going to be doing a lot of speculating in this video, guys. So just, don't take what I'm saying with any, just take it with a grain of salt. But I'm just thinking out loud, but just giving some ideas of how this thing could come to be. But the interesting thing was, though, that the mark of the beast in my dream had some kind of, double phase thing, but it was twice. So I believe that the vaccine, the V, the jab, whatever you want, has something to do with it. Anyway, or could be like, the imminent sign of the next one. So, but it's not something that I'm recommending doing. I'm totally against it. You guys know how I feel about that, and I won't get into that. I'm just trying to show you how these dreams are being fulfilled in some kind of a way. All right. Now, the second part of that dream that I said happened the other day that got fulfilled was I was out in the driveway on my new house, looking back towards the backwoods. I can't even remember what I was looking at. I was looking up in the woods there. I was standing, like I said, if you're facing the house, to the left side on the driveway, out in the backyard, getting ready to get into because I had pulled the minivan up into the grass to get it out of the sun, so the car would get heated up because we had to go back out later. And I was waiting for Leah to come. And, we were going somewhere, store or something, and I was looking up at the sky, and I heard that music. It was like the music that I heard in my dream. It sounded like it was coming from the front yard. It was coming from my neighbor's house. They got small children. So I know that it was some kind of a toy, like, you know, those wind-up toys that play music. I don't know, different kinds of toys have those, you know, nursery rhyme type musical sounds that, you know, come with them. I don't know what I'm trying to say. But, you know, there's like, even they have little like toy radios you can wind up and it plays, you know, nursery rhyme tunes. But that's what it sounded like the turkey in a straw, some kind of nursery rhyme music. Well, I heard that playing while I was standing there looking up at the sky, and I had a deja vu, thinking back to that dream. Now, wait a minute, I said, could that be the second part? Just like the dream itself had two parts? Could I just have had a second fulfillment to this dream being a time marker stamp, which that was, I don't remember the day it was, but it was sometime last week. I can't even remember what day it was. Might have been Sunday. As a fact, I think it was Sunday. I think that was when we were getting ready to go get groceries last weekend. Yeah, I believe so. So anyways, so last Sunday's when that happened. I didn't make a video about it immediately because I wanted to include it with some other things I wanted to talk about. And so that was another dream that had some kind of fulfillment. Now, I also had a dream around the same time I had the one about UFO and Indian Trail. I had dreamed that, now this dream was a weird dream. A dream that felt like, you know, kind of like I fell. You remember I had my vision. I said I fell through the bed. Well, this was sort of kind of like that, but I was asleep. Or I was going to sleep and it felt like I fell a short distance. And then when I stopped falling or feeling like I was falling, I was like awake inside of my dream, consciously thinking. But I was asleep. That could be a vision. I could have actually had a little mini vision there. It wasn't very long and it wasn't very profound. I didn't understand it, but I think it could have possibly been some sort of a vision too. But I felt more like I was asleep than the vision I had when I was 11. I knew I wasn't asleep there. This felt like I was half asleep. So maybe it was a vision. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what a vision is exactly. I just trying to explain the best I can what happened. So anyways, so when I came to inside of this dream or vision, I was going down this dirt road, like through my eyes, like I was on a bike or on a motorcycle, but there wasn't no sound. All I hear was the gravel, you know, like I was driving through it, but no motor or anything. And I was going down this windy dirt road, and there was woods on either side, like I was in the country. And there was a truck parked in front of me with a tailgate, a pickup truck with a tailgate down. And the man that was sitting in the back on the tailgate looked like Hank Williams Jr. a little bit. And I remember he had on a big cowboy hat, and, you know, he had a big belt buckle and boots on. Anyways, in my dream, I just went like an extreme close-up, went right up to his face, and he was looking at me, he had dark sunglasses on, and he says, speaking of the devil. And then all of a sudden, it was like Max Headroom, like, and he said it again, but with a real deep voice. He goes, speaking of the devil. And it scared me. And all of a sudden, I was up in the sky, in the stars. It was nighttime. And I was looking at a giant cauldron, like a big, giant witch's cauldron. Or, I don't want to just say witch's cauldron, because it looked just like a big cooking pot. But, you know, something you would think of a witch's cauldron. And then there was a big, giant wooden spoon that came down out of the sky, and it came down into the thing, and it just started to churn it like this. The spoon started to go around. And as that was happening, I started coming to and waking up. And it started, you know, with my eyes open, I could still see it for a second. Kind of like the vision I had when I was 11. Because I remember my eyes were open, I could still see that cauldron and the wooden spoon turning just for a second or two. And then I was, you know, and I woke up, and I remember waking up screaming because it scared me. I was 10 years old. So anyways, I believe that has something to do with today, this time frame, because everybody's talking about the devil coming in the form of UFOs and disclosure, and we're all looking at the signs in the sky, the constellations. I mean, the big pot could have been the Big Dipper, and the big wooden spoon could have been the Little Dipper, and this was just like my mind showing me that at a time when everybody's going to be looking up, like Jesus said to do in Luke 21, look up, lift up thy head, for thy redemption draweth nigh. At the time everybody's looking to the stars for answers, looking at all the things coming to the earth, looking at the constellations, this would be the time frame to be aware of and to be conscious of, because this is going to be the time that it all unfolds, which I believe is happening. Everybody else does too. So we're in the highest watch month ever. And then, of course, last year, after all that, you know, and there may be it seemed like I had another dream, but right now I can't think of it off the top of my head right now. But it seemed like, well, you know, I did have the Rapture dreams. I dreamed about the one with oh yeah, that was the other one. I'm sorry, I remember now. Just when I said that. Not too long ago, you guys might remember me having a rapture dream. I actually mentioned it on the Ken Potter, when I was live on Ken Potter's show. Ask the Watchman. I talked about that dream. I dreamed that I was in the house with my family. I knew it was my house. I knew my family was all there. And there was a big front window. It is pretty similar to mine, but it actually looked more like my sister's window in her house when I went to visit her, and I'll get to that in a second. But basically, just because I got curtains on my front window, in my dream, this window had just blinds and no curtains. That's the way my sister's window looks. Now, you'll get to why that's important in a minute. So in my dream, I dreamed that we saw lights through the blinds, like really bright lights, and everybody ran to the blinds to look outside. And they saw all these, like it was almost like the clouds were like swirling, like something was opening up in the sky, like a portal or something in the sky. And it was nighttime. And as we're looking, we start seeing these lights coming down, these red orbs. There was different color orbs, but there was the ones that I kept noticing the most was the red ones. For whatever reason, these red orbs were coming down. And while I'm considering that, I back up away from the window, and all of a sudden they come down through the window or through the front of the house. And I'm like backing up away from them, but they get closer and closer, and then they hit us. And when them red orbs started to hit everybody, not just the red orbs, all the orbs, when these orbs of light hit people, I remember rising up and I started floating up towards us. I said, "This is the rapture, it's the rapture. This is the rapture." And I'm hollering for everybody, "It's the rapture." And we start floating up. And I may have told that not exactly right now. I don't remember it quite as well as I did when I made the video, but it was something to that effect. But the point is, when I went to visit my sister in the summer this year, she said that she was in her bathroom. And that basically, the window of the bathroom faces the front of the house where her driveway is in the front where the road is. And she said she saw some kind of light coming through the window. So she goes and looks out the window. It's a red light. And she looks out the window and she sees a house across the street with a red glow over it. It looked like a red light was shining on it. And she says she looked further, pulled the blinds back so she could see, and looks up, and there's a giant red orb over top of that house across the street. She said it shocked her. She said that she's like about to go tell her husband about it, my brother-in-law, and before she even had time to do that, the thing just started to move away, and it went, and it vanished. Just in a second, it was gone. Anyway, she said she didn't dream it, she seen it. When she had seen that a few weeks before I made my video about that dream with the orbs, and she said that she had been meaning to tell me about it, but didn't think about it until she saw my video with the orbs and the rapture vision. So she said on the phone before I came down, "I got to tell you something. I remembered something whenever you told me about when you did your video about the orbs." So anyway, so when she told me, what came to mind was when we were in the living room at her house, she had the same kind of window that was in my dream. And it was the same kind of room and everything. It looked like the same place. The way her house is set up versus mine, it looked more like her house. So you see where I'm going with this. So when I saw the red orbs coming in, I believe that they were pointing to the orb that she would see. And that the putting that together forms another time frame. And that it's almost like God is showing us, it's giving us little crumbs, little crumbs, just like he's doing with you guys, with the things that you guys are seeing, even numbers, all kinds of stuff. God, I believe, has poured out his spirit, showing us all these connections and confirmations so that we can stay on track and keep watching. But this is just another connection, this time frame that we're in. And it may be a warning or whatever. Of course, with the shofars that I heard last year in September the 7th. And then, you go 1 year later, here we are in August, coming up on September, and everybody's thinking, man, this is it, because we've got the Red Sea moment coming that I talked about in the last video, that the jab is being forced here and there, and we could wind up facing a time where we could not being able to work or go in the stores. It could get pretty frightening, but yet that we know that Christ is coming soon, and it's almost perfect. It's perfect. It makes perfect sense that this would happen at this time. I think we all had agreed prior to this that we was going to see some kind of danger, some kind of, Pharaoh's army, so to speak, coming at us right before the rapture happened. And that's exactly what's happening now, guys. So I'm saying all this to encourage you that it looks like everything is on track, that God doesn't make mistakes. He never makes mistakes. These confirmations were not in vain. God does nothing in vain. I believe they were truly from God, but they didn't have they weren't like necessarily being it was a time markers. I don't know any other way to describe it. They weren't going to be fulfilled in the entirety of the dreams and visions, but they were showing us. I believe this could be happening to other people too. Not everybody, but I know for me for sure. But that these are time markers, and they're showing us. Just like my brother Kenny being in my vision, and all my life telling people, oh, Kenny was in my vision. We're going in the rapture together. And my sister don't come see me anymore because of her birds and everything. She can't leave where she lives now to come and see me. It's a long story, but anyways, she can't come see me, and Jack's dead. So Kenny was effectively, other than of course Tyler, Lee, and my wife Tina. I wouldn't have, if I had seen them in a vision at 11 years old, I wouldn't have known who they were. I wouldn't have had any clue. They would have been strangers. So there wouldn't have been no point in God showing me them in my vision, is what I'm saying. So, of course, I have thought about that, but it was this house. I'm certain it was this house because in my vision, I dreamed it was in a house way in the future. Kenny was the only one in my vision, and now Kenny's gone. He passed away on my birthday in this house, and he was living with me because he wasn't living with me. I had made videos about it. I'm like, I always wondered, would Kenny be living with me when the rapture happens? Why was he in my vision, the only one? And it didn't make any sense until he wound up with cancer and had hospice come in. He wanted to stay at my house during that time. So anyways, he wanted to stay here. He wanted to live here. So that's why he was in my vision. And that's why he was hunched over looking at the ground, because the cancer, he was sitting in a chair for so long and he developed a hunch. And when he walked around, he was looking down at the ground. You see how that worked out? A time marker. So God was showing me, when you see Kenny go first, that light I believe that light represented the rapture. That was, or it could have represented danger coming, or it could have represented a million things. But what I do know is that the rapture happened when that light, after it hit Kenny, it hit me, and it was the rapture. I didn't feel no heat, I felt a little heat, a warmth, but not painful heat. It was a loving warmth. It wasn't painful. I was expecting to burn. I thought it was a nuclear bomb when I had the vision at 11. But all of a sudden, we're caught up and we're in the sky instantly. And, that's when I seen Jesus. But at 11 years old, he was God, and he is God. But I didn't know about the rapture. I didn't know about Jesus meeting us in the air. So all I saw was his deity. And at my vision, I tell everybody, I had a vision of God and all these people dressed in white robes with gold bands. I didn't know what any of that was until 19 years old. When I was 19, my dad read me out of Thessalonians, the catching away, how those left alive and remaining, be called up to meet with Jesus in the air. I fell on my knees and wept, because for the first time I understood that vision, and I never understood it. I didn't know. I thought I'd died. I thought I just went to heaven. You understand? I didn't know that there was a rapture, that I could have been taken alive, because I sure didn't feel like I was dying in the vision. It felt very loving and warmth, and it felt really good. So it was a vision of the rapture, but a time marker, approximate time that it would happen. Not exact. Obviously, Kenny passed away on my birthday and nothing's happened. But this month is 7 months from that time. The 21st would be, I guess, I don't know how the 30 and 31 days work out, but basically right around the 21st of this month, 22nd, is how long. It's been exactly 7 months. And what day is everybody looking at right now because of Barry All? August the 22nd is Tu B'Av on the 1 month extended situation with the stars, because we're a month behind. And guys, I believe we're a month behind. And I've talked about that before. I keep watching it, because I'm watching it every month, every day. If there's any kind of dates to look at, I'm going to be looking at them until that date passes and moving on. But we're in August now. We're almost there. This is day 14 of August. Now, so 22nd would be Tu B'Av. That would be 15th of Av. Now, if we back up 6 days, I believe it's 6 days. Is it 6 days or 7 days? 6 days or 5 days? Anyways, it's a few days ahead of that to Tish B'Av, which is the 9th of Av, which we know is the day that all the bad stuff happened in Israel. The temples were destroyed, world wars, world wars. Everything happened on Tish B'Av. Not Tu B'Av. That's like Valentine's Day. That's their wedding day, the day of weddings or whatever. Tish B'Av is the 9th of Av. That's going to fall either this Monday or Tuesday. I think Monday would be the 6th. Yeah, Monday would be the 16th, and then Tuesday the 17th. When I looked it up, I think it said that Tu B'Av was on July the 17th and 18th. But that don't mean it's going to be the exact day, with the 30 days and all. Anyways, sometime between the 16th and the 18th, is Tish B'Av, the 9th of Av. You guys probably already know this better than me because I'm not really good at keeping up with these the Jewish calendars like this. But how the days, the months work. But anyways, but we know that we're coming up next week on Tu B'Av. So we're only a week away from that, guys. I think that's I'm pretty sure that's Monday. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure that's next Monday is the 22nd. That's how close we are to that date. Now, I'm not saying it's going to happen for sure, but it's looking very promising. There's a lot of connections, but the most connections that we have is the year 2021. That's the big one. And my brother died on my birthday, which is January 21st, almost like God was showing when he passed that year. That's what the way my spirit takes it. That's the way I felt from ever since Kenny passed. I felt like God was telling me it's going to be this year, but it could be a day too. I don't think so. I don't think so. So I don't want to get nobody's, trying to get anybody's hopes up in vain, because I love looking at these dates, but I don't want to guess a date and say, hey, it's going to happen for sure on this date. I just don't know. But it's interesting that the 21st is the day before the 22nd, and we know that Israel, it'll turn the 22nd, at least where I'm at, Eastern Standard Time in South Carolina, probably around 12 p.m., 11 a.m., 12 p.m. on the 21st. It'll be evening time when they start their new day, which will be the 22nd. You see what I'm saying? So 21st, 22nd for us. That's interesting. What time? I don't know. I don't even know if it's going to be that day, but that's interesting. And remember, my brother passed away. He drew his last breath. So I made videos about this, many videos. We know for sure by the clock when he drew his last breath was between 3:03 and 3:05 p.m. And all three of those numbers, 303, 304, and 305, mean to ascend, to rise, to go up. Look them up in Strong's Greek. I believe it's all Strong's Greek. But 302 means something else, and 306 means something different. And I know he passed away right in that spot. So could that have been another way that God was showing me that this year we were going to rise? Could he have been literally showing me a time? I don't even know. I think a lot of people believe that Jesus died on the cross sometime in a 3 o'clock hour, like between 3 and 3:30. That's a possibility. That we get raptured at the 3 o'clock hour here, or who knows? I don't know. See, I don't know. There's a lot of, you got a lot of time zones and things to look at. So I definitely don't think we could guess the hour. Even if we could figure out the day, which I'm not even sure we could do that, but I believe that we definitely can understand the week, the month, then I believe that we are at least in a general time frame. This month, next month. And of course, my shofar being on September the 7th last year, on Labor Day, we've been talking about birth. I had dreams about the baby's gone, the baby's being birthed. People talking about this birthing of the baby from Revelation 12, which we know is the body of Christ, the man-child. Labor Day. When Jesus talked about how the labor pains would come, the birthing pains. And I heard that first shofar on Labor Day, 5:30 in the morning. I don't know if that means anything or not, but that's when I heard it. I believe that I would have heard it whatever time I went outside. God wanted me to hear it. So I believe that's just the time I went outside. And then the same thing on November the 7th, I heard it again a little more times. It was like, it was a longer set of blasts, but it was at 2:14 in the morning on the 7th of November. So again, I don't know exactly what that means, but I do believe now that it was some kind of a year warning. Some kind of year warning. I don't know if it meant exactly the same time, but it is ironic that September the 6th this year, which is September the 6th, sometime in midday, we turn to September 7th in Israel, which is when they're claiming on the calendar that the Feast of Trumpets starts. And the reason I say that's what they're claiming, because first of all, there has to be somebody sighting the sliver of the new moon for that feast to start. And because we're going to be a month behind, we could be talking October. And if we are talking October for the Feast of Trumpets, the real Feast of Trumpets, not the one they're celebrating because they're a month behind, but if the real Feast of Trumpets is in October, right? And if we don't get raptured out of here on Tu B'Av, and I'm just saying if we don't, if that time passes and we have to start looking at the Feast of Trumpets, then it's most likely going to be in October, which means that my trumpets were bookends. September, November, and in between is October. I don't know, guys. I'm not saying it's going to happen then. I'm just telling you what I'm just telling you. I don't even understand my visions and dreams completely, but I'm making I'm just theorizing, and I'm thinking out loud. That's what I said I was going to do. I'm just make some speculations here, because I do believe that we're right at the threshold. So guys, I know this video is getting long and I don't want to keep you too long, but just be encouraged, guys. I mean, God has really been working on my heart and showing me these. I keep remembering all these things that have happened last year, and the list just goes on and on and on. It's just too many to mention. You go back and just look at some of my videos from last year, and you just see how many times God showed me something spectacular. And with the numbers, and the number 323 and 333, they just keep coming around. I mean, what do they mean? 323, 333, could that mean that he's coming between 3:23 in the morning and 3:33 in the morning? I don't know. I mean, it's just as possible as anything else, but we do know that there's Comet 323. My brother Jack passed away on 3:23. It was Aliyah Day in Israel this year. My daughter's name's Aliyah. And Aliyah Day celebrates the going back to Israel, to going up to Jerusalem, to Mount Zion or whatever, to the temple. But it also is when the day that they celebrate, Aliyah Day is the day they celebrate Joshua taking the children of Israel across the River Jordan to the Promised Land, which incidentally actually happened on Passover. The morrow after the 14th of Nisan, which would be the 15th, is Passover. So all those connections. And then 333 is just, it means in Strong's to observe carefully. And also you got the trumpet blowing from Ezekiel 33:3, and Jeremiah 33:3 it says, call upon me and I shall answer thee and show you great and wondrous things, or great and marvelous things. Yeah, I'm probably messing that up, but paraphrasing, great and marvelous things that ye know not. So it's almost like, pay attention and I will show you things. And he has been. The more we watch, the more things we get. So watch. I think that's why Jesus kept stressing on it. Watch therefore. Because if you're not watching, you're going to miss the clues. And if we miss the clues, we're going to have no idea when he's coming. But because we're watching and because we're seeing the clues, everybody's looking at these dates, and eventually we're going to hit it. I mean, it's going to happen. It's good, but we're, in the meantime, we stay encouraged, and we're learning so much about God and about Jewish feast days, and about Jesus was a Jew and he practiced these things, and God practices these things. He gave those dates to the Jews for a reason. Not just for the Jews, but for the world. And so we're coming to understand what we may not have to celebrate them. They may not be right now. We might do in heaven, but right now we're not Jewish, so we don't observe those feast days and things. That's not for us to do. But I think it is important for us to understand them, because these are the ways of the Lord, the ways of his people. And now that we're his people, adopted, he wants us to learn. He wants us to understand why they did things. And it's obvious that the things that the Jewish race did in honor of God was his shadow and type of the things that would happen in the future for the whole world and for his church and for them. So guys, with that, I'm going to end this. Now make sure you watch these last two little short videos at the end. They're very interesting. The thing that I saw in the sky yesterday was interesting. I don't know what it was, and I'm not even suggesting. I'm not trying to read into it too much. I just wanted to share it. Like I said before, whenever I feel like something may be being shown to me from God, something out of the ordinary, I want to share it. Just because, I want to get it out there. I'm chronicling everything that God shows me the best I can. So if it doesn't mean anything, if you don't feel like it means anything, it was stupid, that's fine. It's okay. I'm not saying that it does. I just want you to see it. It's interesting. It's neat. If nothing else, it's neat. Anyways, the next video is me showing you where I heard the shofars. I think it would be good for you to put in your perspective where I heard the sound coming from, how deep those woods were, that it wasn't just in somebody's backyard. The sound was clearly coming from that area. And incidentally, the sound of I thought sounded like some kind of angelic choir. Going, ooh. And I kept hearing that repeating that one night, come from that same direction. And lots of things that happened seemed to come from that. I was looking that same direction when I saw the heat lightning and the shooting star, when God confirmed to me that no one knows the hour of the day. And I made a video about that. So, and then the next day, my boss, randomly says, tell that man, I just got to talk about J.D. Fraud, who he didn't even know who he was, and I listen to him sometimes. He says, you tell that man that nobody knows when God's going to return. That's 3 different confirmations in 2 days. And I believe it's because maybe we're not supposed to know the exact day or hour. But it doesn't say anything about the day before or the week. And guys, I think we're on to something with these dates. I do. I mean, we're thinking it could be this date, could be that date, but I believe somewhere in there we're going to hit the jackpot. Jesus is going to come and get us, and we're not going to be caught off guard because we're looking all the time, anyways. You know, the reason why I believe we don't know the day and the hour is just to keep the devil off guard, to keep because if the devil knew the exact, or even look at it like this, if we knew the exact day and hour, we would just all sit down, and we would, guys. I mean, most of us, not all of us, but I mean, most of us would just sit down. There wouldn't be no point going back to work if we knew exactly when Jesus was coming. And because we get ourselves so excited about it that we stop witnessing, we stop working, we stop doing everything. I think God wants us to work and all, but He has given us an opportunity, obviously, to know the timing somewhat, just maybe not that exact timing. I don't care to know the exact timing. If I know it's going to happen this week, I'm excited. In fact, even if it's happened this year, I'm excited. So, and again, I'm not saying for 100% sure that we can't know the day or the hour. I just believe that God was showing me that. But then again, you know, like I said before too, I also said that prayer out loud. And, you know, I usually pray in my head. So I'm not saying it wasn't of God. I'm just saying that there is that. I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to say, guys. I mean, you know, take it for what you will. That's what I felt like God showed me. I still feel like He did. I didn't feel like there was no evil presence there or anything like that, or that it was lightning and it was you know, a shooting star. I know the Bible says the devil is the prince of the powers of the air, and it could include some of those things, but this just didn't feel like a deception to me. You know, I'm praying in the Holy Spirit and I'm praying in Jesus' name. I think it would be kind of hard for the devil to come and try to deceive me in that state of being that the Holy Spirit would be present with me. Anyways, though, I could be wrong. I don't know. Just throwing it out there. Love you guys. I'll see you on the next video, and I hope y'all have a wonderful weekend. I don't know if I'm going to make another video this weekend. I may. But if I don't, I love you guys, and hopefully I'll see you in the clouds before I see you on the next video. But if not, I'll see you on the next video. I love y'all so much. I'll see you later. Bye. Hey guys, Tony here. It's Saturday morning, August the 14th. And I just wanted to walk down this road to show you guys where I heard those shofars and show you why there's no way anyone was here playing it. So I'm going to flip the screen around and show you something. Now I'm down the road across the street from my house. Way up there at the top is the top of the street. These are the woods that I heard this noise from. It goes way down into a ravine. It's like a flood zone here, but there's a really low area. You can't really see nothing here. Probably should have done this in the winter so you could see down in them woods. But you see the distance, the top of the hill. I'm gonna zoom in where that phone pole is on the right, way down there, at the very end. That's the end of the street. Across that street, you turn right, and then my house is right there on the left. I'm gonna show you from the other angle. But basically, that's the woods. Now, there is a house on the other side over there. There's a driveway where there's a couple houses actually down in there. But the sound was clearly coming from over here on this side. And it is deep. You can't even get in there. And if you, in the wintertime when there's not all this growth, you can see how it's like a treacherous area of woods. You just can't even get in there. There's just no way. I just thought that was interesting. Just wanted you guys to see it. So I'll start filming again when I get to the top. And just looking back on it, you can still just see how far those woods go up and how thick they are. The road goes all the way down. So anyways, I gotta get back up to the top here. Now you can see the stop sign now. That's that phone pole. And the woods go all the way down. There's actually somebody living right across the street from me, so, but it wasn't coming from there. And that's my house right there, so there's the stop sign. You make the right there. That's my house right over there. So you see how far I had to walk to get to the bottom of those woods where that sound was coming from. There's no way nobody was in those woods early in the morning blowing those shofars like that. I mean, they're just really really deep wood. That sun's probably caused you not to be able to see the woods, but zoom out. It's just the thick woods there. So once again, this is back on my driveway. So you see the guardrail there. When that guardrail, you turn there and go down. And right back here to the porch where I heard it from. So when I zoom in and show you the area, the neighbors over there, and them woods straight through there, takes you all the way down to that bottom of that ravine, where it just, even if someone could have got down there with a shofar, it just don't make any sense, guys, why anybody would be. I mean, you'd practically have to risk your life to get down in them woods. So if you could see it in the wintertime, I should have done this in the wintertime where you could see all the rocks and broken trees down in there where you just can't really, trek down through them woods easily. It would be very, very difficult in the daytime, let alone first thing in the morning. So, hey guys, this is Tony. It's Friday, the August the 13th. I just saw this up in the sky. This was similar to the thing I saw, I want to say it was last year. I made a video about what looked like an arm coming out of the sky, but it was like separated the sky with, it's a perfect straight line. There's nothing there. You see where it turns blue there? Well, with the naked eye, all you see is just a line going across the sky, but with the camera, you can see there's like a different, I don't know how to explain this. Okay, the sun is behind my house. Okay, so, and that's the sun shining on that cloud. You can see the cloud, so the sun sets in the back over here. But this is really weird, guys. I don't even know how to explain what I'm looking at here, but there is something cutting through the sky. I don't know what's causing it. It's clearly not the sun rays. The sun rays are shining over there on that cloud. That's something weird. You see right here, there's a line clearly separating the sky there. I don't know what this means. I don't know what that is. But it's a perfectly straight line. It goes from there straight down, and then it disappears into the clouds. I've seen this before with that arm. I might post that. I will. I'll find that video and I'll post it with the link so you can see what was an arm reaching out. It looked like it had a hand on the end of it, like it was scooping something up. But this is just, it's not that, but again, it's the same kind of phenomenon where there's nothing there. I mean, it cuts through the clouds, like that cloud there. You see it, it cuts through it. There's something visibly there. It's a straight line, but it's not clouds. There's no clouds there. I don't know what that is, but like I said, it's some sort of phenomenon. And it's really, really weird. So when I turn the camera, it starts there, it goes across. You can clearly see. Zoom in. You see when I zoom in, you can see there, it's like there's clouds there, but there's nothing there. So when I scan back, you can see there's nothing there. That is so weird. It kind of reminds me of that place in the ocean where there's like fresh water and salt water where they don't really mix together, and there's like an ocean river. I think it's clear water, but it might be something else. I think it has something to do with the density of the salt where these two waters meet. It might be that. It might be that they're both salt water and one's more dense. I can't remember, but something like that in the ocean where it just splits it in half. It's like the sky is split in half. And I'm standing right in my front yard. And it split the sky in half. Well, now the clouds are going over it, but you can't see that part up there anymore, but you can still see that a little bit. Anyways, guys, just tell me what you think about that. That's unique. I don't know what that is. I'm not saying it's anything other than just something unusual. A lot of unusual clouds and things lately. Just like that. That's unusual. But any rate, guys, I'm gonna go off here now. You guys have a wonderful. Bye. Hey, family, Tony again. I just wanted to show y'all something. This little, these two little cups, these little wine glasses or chalices or whatever you call them, and that little whatnot of Jesus knocking on the door has been on my cabinet pretty much the entirety of the time that I've lived here. In November it'll be 7 years. Right there, bless this house. That's also been here. This was here when we moved. That was here when we moved in. I just thought this was interesting. Remember, I made a video about hearing a knocking on the door. Me and Aaliyah both heard it, and it really didn't occur to me until just a minute ago. I kind of got excited. I'm like, wait a minute, and I got that little statue of Jesus there knocking on the door. I just thought that was really cool, guys. I wanted to share that with you. And something else too, incidentally, trying to get the zoom just right. Incidentally, I like that word. Incidentally, November will be 7 years, and I honestly don't know exactly what date. I need to look it up, but wouldn't it be something if we moved in here on November the 7th, which was when I heard the last shofar last year? Wouldn't that be ironic? I don't know, guys. There's just so many coincidences, and I don't believe in coincidences, so something's up with all this, but this was just neat. I just thought y'all would enjoy that. That's been there. It's dust all over it. It's been up there for so long. It's just I don't really, it's been there so long that I don't really notice it anymore. And I was just standing here waiting for the video to upload on the computer so I could start editing and everything. And there it is. I just looked right at it and like, wow. Anyways, guys, it's just a little bonus. Y'all be blessed. I love you. Bye.